Okay, I thought this might be a really good opportunity to talk about some different avocados. Someone asked me about the Gordo Grag avocado and how that might compare to the Big Mup avocado. And I told him that Gordo Grag is kind of like the dad comparison to Mup, which is my daughter, where I'm kind of big and, not so pretty. Thus Gordo Grag. Whereas Big Mup is big, not as big as Gordo Grag, but beautiful. Really a beautiful avocado. And they taste the same, actually. And if you want to make guacamole in the bowl, you could do it with either one because the skin is so thick. Except Gordo Grag, it seems to be even thicker and tougher, as you would expect. My kind of a metaphor of my daughter and I. But she's pretty tough, don't get me wrong. Mup is super tough, my daughter. Yeah, but anyway, you can see the difference here, all these beautiful speckles. The skin is rougher in texture. This skin is somewhat rough, but it's certainly more rough than a smooth skin Mexican type. So there's kind of and this is not a Big Mup. This is like I call that a medium to small Mup. This is the only one I could find on the tree right now. The tree's not very big. There's a long story as why the tree's not big. But anyway, some of you know that. But so there's the difference between Big Mup and Gordo Grag. Gordo Grag probably weigh as much as maybe 4 pounds, whereas Big Mup's probably going to be in at 2.5 pounds for the largest ones. So that's the difference there. Then I found an avocado tree growing in a neighborhood where they don't even like avocados. What a tragedy, right? This avocado tree is 50 feet tall. I asked the guy how long it's been there. He says, well, I moved in here as a kid in 1964. And he basically said the tree was that big then. So he thinks it's over 100 years old. He says they have to constantly trim it to keep it as small as it is at 50 feet tall and about maybe 30, 40 feet wide. But it's making a ton of avocados, and it's this lighter green color thing, and it's smaller, but it's actually not that pretty of an avocado. I mean, look at it. I guess that's kind of a pretty side there, but it does have this lighter green color to it. So it's also a Guatemalan type. These are all Guatemalan types that we're going to talk about here. I'm really a Guatemalan type avocado guy. I've come to realize they're big, they're round, they're different. But anyway, we're going to call this one Little Mup. Big Mup, Little Mup. So that's what I'm going to kind of refer to it. Anyway, the guy threw away all these avocados. They fell out of the tree. He put them in his green bin, and I was happy to retrieve them. And I'll show those to you. They're behind me right now. And then here we have a Nabal avocado. So you can see this Little Mup is very similar in size and shape to a Nabal. So Nabal is the parent of reed. I don't have a reed here to show you, but but the Nabal is fully Guatemalan. In fact, it's a really interesting story in Nabal. The Wilson Popenoe was sent by the USDA to go down to Guatemala back in the day to hunt avocados to introduce into California for the avocado trade, the budding avocado trade, budding, no pun intended. And that was in 1913. No, that was 1915. And one of the trees, he discovered most of the trees growing in coffee plantations. Apparently the coffee workers would go and take their native avocados with them. Well, they're not really native. That's another long story. They've been man-manipulated for 2,000 years at least, but and selected and everything else. But trying to make it a brief video, he found most of these avocados of interest in coffee groves, and apparently the coffee grove workers would bring an avocado from wherever, their favorite tree, and then they would eat it during the day at lunch and then just toss the pit out. The tree would grow up, and avocados being as they are and liking partial shade, the plantation owners would often allow these trees to grow up and provide shade. There were no commercial avocado groves in Guatemala at the time of Wilson going down there to look for these avocados. And he found all of his avocados, not from the wild, but rather from gardens and coffee plantations and places where people had planted them. And he really couldn't find any what he considered wild avocados. And it's still an argument as to if there are any wild avocados even left, truthfully. They sort of owe their existence, at least the ones that we know today, to man or humans. I gotta stop saying that, I know. Anyway, this particular avocado he found in a coffee plantation, and it was only like 12 feet tall, but it had a ton of avocados on it. He decided to bring it up and utilize it. And then he came back like a couple years later to visit the tree again because he wanted to see it again, just like I do with my trees that I'm experimenting with. And it was gone. They cut it down. That's the same story as Big Mup. Same thing happened to me with Big Mup. But luckily we propagated a few before it got cut down. And so, yeah, but the parent of Nabal literally vanished from the face of the earth 2 years after it was propagated by Wilson Popenoe. And if he had not been there, this thing would be extinct. We wouldn't have it in my hand right now. Isn't that profound? Anyway, here's the other avocado that's of interest right now. This is it's been in the fridge for a while. I actually cut it open to make a video and show the inside, which is a really good avocado. Of course, it's been sitting in the fridge, so it's kind of losing its perfectness in color and everything else. But anyway, this avocado, it turns black a little bit when it's ripe, kind of like a Haas. But this avocado is from the True Value hardware store in San Francisco. I'll put the link of the article that the Chronicle wrote about this, and they wanted me to come out and check out the tree and let them know what I thought about it. I thought it was a great tree. And it's also huge, 60 feet tall and covered in avocados. And the gentleman at the hardware store who owns it was giving them away as they fell out of the tree, which was a really popular thing to do. So those are the 5 avocados that I wanted to show you lined up side by side. So you have a comparison. You can see the True Value avocado is smaller than the Gordo Grag. If you compare the largest of the hardware store avocados are nowhere near the size of the largest Big Mup. So this is a smaller, medium, small Big Mup. And you can see they're about the same size. But Big Mups typically are quite a bit bigger than that. And and so here's the profile of how tall they are. If we line them all up again, kind of like mixed them up, so now you're confused as to what's what. Nabal, Little Mup, True Value, Big Mup, and then Gordo Grag. So here's another one of these Little Mups. And this thing is absolutely, it's an ugly little avocado. Look at them. Here they are. Look how ugly they are. They're ugly. They're real ugly. But these things are delicious. They are absolutely delicious. And they're really firm, but they're rich, like super, super, super rich. These are the ones that don't have cracks. I'm going to give to friends. These are the ones I'm going to try to consume myself. Do a lot of exercise after I do this, but I'll just be cutting some of the bad parts off these. And there's plenty of good meat to be had there. Here's another Big Mup right there. But that one got a little compromised. But look at the color on the Big Mup. So pretty. It's uniform. This color here, you can see here's indicative of the yellow coloring on this. And here's sort of the lighter green color. Yeah. But I do love all the variation of the avocados and the colorations that they have. And I can see this is the side the sun was shining on, kind of green. And this is the side, the shady side, where it's more yellow from lack of photosynthesis. And so I'm processing a bunch of budwood seeds. And I harvested some of my own little avocados right there today. And there's more budwood right there. So anyway, that's pretty much the story here. And there you go. More avocados.